We all knew it could happen, and we all hated that it could happen.
There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game!
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. As you can see, I am here solo tonight. My co-host Josh is sick at the moment, probably sick because of what happened to Auburn against Vandy this last Saturday. Really, just absolutely, positively the worst case outcome that I think any Auburn fan could have imagined. None of us sat here and thought that this was something that was potentially going to happen. And unfortunately, here we are stuck with the outcome. Auburn loses to Vandy 17-7. We could only manage 7 points against Vandy, the defense that has been letting everyone and their mother, including Georgia State, score on them. And for some reason, Peyton Thorne and this Auburn offense was anemic. Well, guess what? Probably has something to do with the fact that Jarquez Hunter only had 12 carries. Yes, that is, you heard me correctly there. Do not adjust your volume. 12 carries for this game. 2 of them in the second half. We didn't see him for a majority of the third quarter. And we didn't see him until the very end of the fourth quarter. What were these coaches doing? What was the game plan heading into this game? Seriously, it was one of these games where I could not fathom what was going on in their heads. It just made absolutely no sense. We looked like a completely different team out there. This was not the team that went out there against Kentucky and laid the wood on them. Yes, their defense had some players missing. They had that some of their defensive linemen were hurt. Okay, I get that. But seriously, 7 points against Vandy? Okay, yes, Vandy is the Cinderella story this year. Vandy is a good team this year. They're not ranked in the top 25, but they really should be. And I'm not just saying that because they beat Auburn. I said it last week. I said that even with their loss to Texas, there was not 25 better teams in this country than them. They took Texas to the wire. They had beaten the number 1 team in the country at the time, Alabama. But the fact that we lost to Vandy, of all people, the first time in program history, we lost to Vandy at home at Jordan-Hare Stadium, where we had some, voodoo that usually exists. It did not happen on Saturday. Okay. Getting back to Jarquez Hunter, 12 carries for 50 yards is absolutely abysmal. The fact that he only got 12 carries is terrible. Okay. The defense holding Vandy to only to as few yards as they did is absolutely ridiculous. This defense played lights out. Diego Pavia had 9 straight incompletions between the second, third, and fourth quarter. Okay, this defense gave our offense plenty of opportunity to do what they needed to do against this team. I just am so dumbfounded by the fact that we lost to this Vandy team that it just kills me a little bit. It does not make any sense. I just cannot understand it. Auburn is a much better team than what we saw on Saturday. We saw this team with one running back put up 278 yards on Kentucky. We have seen Auburn pass against good defenses. We have seen, albeit not a big Peyton Thorne fan here, we have seen Peyton Thorne deliver the ball to our wide receivers and let them make plays this year. Okay? But for some reason, Saturday night, we couldn't do it. Nothing worked. Nothing worked against this Vandy defense, this vaunted Vanderbilt defense. So, what exactly did happen? I mean, we're looking at some of the game-changing plays. Peyton Thorne trying to hold on to the ball. Zone read option plays again. We started this video with Peyton Thorne running a read option where he kept it. Yeah, probably the right call was to keep it, but I'm pretty sure Jarquez would have done a lot better than what Peyton Thorne did. We saw many times where he sat there and got clobbered at the line. Vandy did something that I don't know if I've seen other teams do. I think I saw maybe Kentucky do it a couple of times, but what they did is they did this sort of mush rush and kind of let Thorne step up in the pocket. And as he stepped up in the pocket and started to take off a little bit, he would then, the defensive lineman would then shed his block, okay, which is absolutely asinine, right? And he would shed that block, get off of the block, and tackle Peyton Thorne for a sack or for a 1-yard gain. We saw it many times. I texted my brother early on in this game, and I said, Peyton Thorne is not accurate today. We are not seeing the same quarterback we saw against Kentucky, the 20 for 28 Peyton Thorne. Now, Peyton Thorne finished with a pretty good number on Saturday. He didn't really have too many incompletions, but early on in the game, it clearly looked like Peyton Thorne could not put the ball where he needed to. He was overthrowing his wide receivers. He was underthrowing his wide receivers. Our receivers made some amazing catches, okay? Our lone touchdown came on a play where we saw Rivaldo Fairweather, we'll see it here on screen in a couple of seconds, Rivaldo Fairweather make an incredible catch, and then have to make a ton of people miss and a ton of things happen. Okay, Peyton Thorne, yes, he completed quite a few passes on Saturday, and his passing percentage wasn't too bad, but it was definitely nothing to shake a stick at. In critical downs, Peyton Thorne would miss his receiver. In wide open plays, Peyton Thorne would miss his receiver. We're about to see the Rivaldo Fairweather play right here. Okay, Rivaldo Fairweather, again, had himself a game. Yes, he fumbled there at the end of the game. At that point, it was all out. I mean, it was done for. Nothing was really going to happen. The game was over at that point. If anyone thought that we were going to go down there and score or thought that we were going to come back, clearly hasn't been watching Auburn play this year. Vandy was not doing well. Our defense kept us in this game the entire time. Our defense looked absolutely fantastic. I cannot stress that enough. The outcome and the way that our defense played. They absolutely tore it up in this game. They came in to play with a plan against Diego Pavia that I haven't seen very many teams have coming into this year. Okay. Alabama, Texas really couldn't contain Diego Pavia when it mattered the most. And I guess Auburn couldn't either. Okay. But we gave up only 17 points to this team. Our defense, it's so frustrating that we scored only 7 points when our defense held them to 17. 17 points against any SEC team out there in this country, and really any team in this country, should spell a win for your team, especially when your head coach is an offensive-minded head coach. So what happened here? Okay, who do we blame at this point? Because what I saw on Saturday was for the most part, our offensive players did pretty good. They executed pretty well. Like I said, our receivers, our pass catchers, were making some amazing catches. Okay? But for some reason, coaches were coming up with weird plans, were coming up with weird calls, and it just did not make sense. Not only that, but like at one point in the game, we were 0 for 9 on third down conversions. Are you kidding me? So I guess, yeah, some of that has to go down to execution. So maybe it is the player's fault, or maybe it's the coach's fault. And I'm not talking about just Hugh Freeze. I'm talking about the coordinators, the position coaches. Honestly, can't say anything bad about DJ Durkin in this defense. And again, the performance that they did, I can't put any blame on them. because those boys came to play. Okay. You had some amazing performances from our defensive players. And not just our veterans, but our freshmen looked fantastic. Amaris Williams looked like a man out there. DeMarcus Riddick looked like a man out there. Jaron Thompson on that play where he stopped Diego Pavia on 4th down or 3rd down in a critical point in the first half was absolutely beautiful. It let Diego know, hey, you're not getting what you thought you were going to get against this team. So Vandy had to make adjustments, and they did. Their coaching staff made adjustments. Ours didn't. The adjustments our coaches made, hey, let's throw the ball more. Let's take Jarquez out of the game as if he's hurt. Guys, I have not been a person this year that has criticized Hugh Freeze that much. But right now, this loss against Vanderbilt, people, I just cannot, it is not computing in my mind that we lost to Vanderbilt yet. Okay? This team is much better than this. The blame has to go to somebody, and I think it's got to start with Hugh Freeze and the coaches. Yeah, there were a couple of plays here and there, but that the players could have executed better, but it's got to come down to the coaches having these kids prepared, putting the right players on the field, and that includes Peyton Thorne. We've said it all year long. I am sick and tired of having this conversation about whether or not Peyton Thorne should have been the quarterback coming into this year, or whether or not Hugh Freeze should have stuck with Peyton Thorne. Well, guess what? He stuck with Peyton Thorne. Okay. The first chance he got to put Peyton Thorne back in the starting rotation after Hank Brown threw 3 interceptions in the first half against Arkansas, he did. And he's rode with Peyton Thorne ever since. Well, guess what? Peyton Thorne is not the answer. Peyton Thorne has made us, again, he didn't have a terrible day, but he did not step up in position. You know, the guys over at Locked On Auburn keep saying something about Peyton Thorne. He didn't win the job. He didn't win the down. He didn't win the game. Peyton Thorne just didn't lose it, which I guess you could say was the case on Saturday. I don't know if you can sit there and say that he lost it. It seems as if the coaching staff has changed the way that they call plays because they don't trust Peyton Thorne anymore. And maybe Peyton Thorne does give us the best chance to win. But at this point, I really don't care because it just does not make sense. I cannot stress enough the lack of ability that I saw on Saturday with finishing in you know, really important moments. Okay. There were a couple times where Vandy was driving, and honestly, this defense, they held their ground. There was a couple times, though, where they put themselves in a bad position, had a penalty, let them convert a 3rd down, or let them pick up the 3rd down because of that penalty. Some of the calls were a little tic-tacky. Some of the calls were bad calls. But this coaching staff has got to do better. Before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bells, guys. We got videos coming. We're going to be breaking down our basketball season here that's coming up next week while we're on bye. The episode is going to be about the basketball season, which I don't think anybody wants more to happen than the Auburn fan base. We want basketball season to be here because we want something good to cheer about, because right now this football team is not giving it to us. Okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be an Auburn fan. I'm going to cheer this team on, although it gets way more difficult as the season goes on. It gets way more difficult. But, you know, really, there's only so much that we can do as fans. We've done everything that we can. For those that are watching, you're sitting here, you're seeing John Travolta looking around saying, what's going on? Hugh Freeze got his hands up in the air trying to figure out what's going on. Well, Hugh Freeze doesn't have the answer. You can listen to the post-game interview. You can listen to the press conference he held on Monday. He doesn't know what the answer is. So guys, is this a lost season? I don't know. John Travolta doesn't know. Hugh Freeze doesn't know. But I do know one thing. This team had reasonable expectations put on them from the fan base. Reasonable expectations. And they've let us down. Auburn fans have done their part. They've sold out every home game. They have been there. They have shown out. They have cheered their asses off. And yet this team continues to underperform. So what's the answer? You know, where does Auburn go here? Because it just doesn't, I don't know. I personally don't know. So can Auburn turn this thing around? Well, guys, we got 3 more games left. 3 more games. We got ULM Monroe, which I don't even know if we can win. We should. We really should. Okay? ULM's a bad team. They're not great. We should really win that game. But honestly, when this season's going, is anyone going to be surprised if we don't win that game? No. No, they're not. No one's going to be surprised. I think we can turn it around in the sense that get more people involved that are going to be here next year. I don't care if we don't see Peyton Thorne. I don't care if he gives us the best opportunity to win, but I don't need to see him. Throw in the other quarterbacks. Let's see what we got. Walker White at this point, hey, he couldn't possibly get destroyed enough to ruin him for the future. Let's see what that kid's got. I'd like to see Hank Brown. I'd like to see him make 3 interceptions, and let's see how he responds to it. Open the offense up again. Run the ball with Jarquez Hunter, with Damari Alston, with Jeremiah Cobb. These running backs are talented. Put the ball in their hand. We can go ahead and get some W's here. Do we have a chance against Alabama? It's hard to say. It's hard to imagine us winning that game. we might hold Alabama to 17 points. But can the offense score more than that? Probably not. Even against a defense that isn't that great now that Nick Saban's no longer there. Can Auburn beat Texas A&M? Probably not against that defense. That team has got a lot of talent there. Guys, I'm not saying we need to get rid of Hugh Freeze. I am a strong proponent of giving him 3 seasons. But guess what? He has definitely hurt his standing in my eyes. This Auburn fan's eyes. And I'm just not sure how much more I can take of this, because at this point, I am ready for the football season to be over. I don't remember the last time I felt, okay, I do. 2012. I wanted that season to be over. Well, I want this season to be over too. I'm tired of losing. It gets difficult. You're waking up on Saturday morning and saying, okay, well, how can Auburn lose this one? Just like the rest of you, I know that this team can win. I know this team has the ability to. What is holding us back? We got to figure that out. And this team can do great things. Hopefully. Still hard to see. Guys, again, I want you to subscribe. I want you to click that notification bell. I want you to comment. Tell me what you thought about this game. What was going through your mind during this game? Like and subscribe. And with all of this heartbreak that we keep experiencing this year, keep your heads up. We're going to get through this, okay? It's always darkest before the dawn. And with that crazy bombshell, War Eagle, guys.